Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Honda Passport in the Elite package. This is a fully loaded Passport. So Honda actually made the Passport in hopes to capture buyers from the kind of like off-road SUV segment. So in today's video, we're going to do a quick walk around of the Passport, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives, and basically answer the question if this is really an off-road SUV. As always, a huge shout out and thank you to Stockton 12 Honda here in Utah for providing us with a Passport. Check out their inventory in the link below. The hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. Let's quickly go over things on the front end of the Passport. So first and foremost, I like how the hood is in kind of like 3 different segments on the kind of like raised portions, and then there's those 2 little like middle portions that are lower. I'm sure someone's like put stripes on it at some point, but anyways, coming down below, I have the lights turned on, but it's hard to see them because it's daytime. These LED lights are extremely bright. I mean, I always get blinded by them at night. They've got nice little LED accent lights around them. That Honda logo also doubles as a sensor. You get little fog lights just down below with some parking sensors at the front, and that's it for the front. Let's go over things on the side here. Starting with the rims, we've got 265mm tires on 20-inch rims, and I love how they've blacked it all out on this particular Passport. So obviously it matches the black exterior paint, so it's good that they didn't do chrome rims or anything like that on this particular one. Now you can see that we've got these flares, which I know that you guys are gonna be like, well, why are they made out of plastic? But plastic is gonna be a lot cheaper to replace if you do take this off-road, and obviously if you scrape that, you're gonna wanna scrape that instead of the side of the vehicle. But other than that, you can see the tires, pretty much just regular all-season tires. That kind of like plastic part continues all the way down the car, all the way to the back. And then other than that, here's a side profile on the Passport. We've got a couple functions on the key fob. First and foremost, you got the Honda logo on the back. There's that little latch right there to basically pop the key open. If you ever get locked out, then you can pull that out to get into the car and jump it. Now you've got your lock function, your unlock right there, the tailgate release, obviously the horn, and then the remote start. To remote start, you gotta lock it and then hold down the remote start function. It'll take a second, the lights will all flash, and then you can hear that V6 come to life, and obviously you can see some exhaust coming out because it's really cold outside today. But then if you also want to shut it off, you just have to hold that down again on the remote start, and then it'll shut off. Now the tailgate release, you just have to hold this down, and that'll open up the rear hatch on the Passport. Let's pop into the rear of the Passport here. So we've got all the floor mats back here. There is this little latch too, so you just press down on that part. Extra little storage for you. There are cubbies here on the sides that also kind of count as extra storage. This is to fold down the seat, so press that button and then it'll throw the seat down. You do have to manually lift it back up. There is a little power outlet. This is for a cargo cover in the back. That's just the other seat in the rear. And then when you do want to shut the rear of the Passport, all you have to do is just press that little button up there, and that'll shut it, or you can use the key fob to shut it. Finish things up in the back. So we've got the taillights. They kind of wrap around to the side, so let's kind of zoom in on them. They kind of like come up to here. I think that's a pretty cool little thing. Passport badge right there, Honda logo on the back, and then over there it says Elite all-wheel drive, dual outlet exhaust in the rear. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for the back. Coming to the rear here, let's look at the door panel in the back. Now we actually do get sunshades for the rear passengers, so nice practicality there. Soft touch down here, again for the rear passengers. Cup holders on the side, so door panel so far is actually really practical. Now I've got the seat here in the back. If you want to throw the seat down, you can just use a little latch right there. The thing that I like about this, so they got these little perforations, but they've done this little kind of like square design all throughout the seat, so I think it's a nice little touch. Now this little part right here, this is where more cup holders are going to be, and then this is the climate control area for the rear. So we do have a rear climate. They do get heated seats. They got a little charging station down below with a couple USBs. Pockets on the backs of the seat. Now I am going to pop in quickly so you guys can kind of see legroom. I've got the driver's seat roughly where I'd have it, so legroom in here is pretty good. And then also in terms of headroom, I mean, I've got tons of space. I'm about 5'11", so I feel like just as a practicality place, I mean, I've got 2 cup holders here, 2 more over there, 2 in the middle, and plenty of legroom. Now coming to the front, we've got keyless entry, so 1 touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just put your hand to the back of the door handle and it'll unlock. Now the door panel in the front's pretty much identical to the rear, so same soft touch here. You do get this nice little black trim memory seats here in the Passport Elite. All of your window controls here. You get your door lock and unlock. That is for your gas cap and then your tailgate release. The mirror adjustments are actually here on the side. That's your little eco mode. Stability control, that's your collision assistance. That's your lane departure assistance, and then your parking sensors. Now here is the seat in the front of the Passport. Has that same kind of cool like square design. And the leather on it's actually pretty soft. The bolsters especially are very soft, so really comfortable seats to sit in just all around. Your power controls are on the side of the seat, and then here is the pedal layout with the hood latch release there, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. And here's one more look at the front. Now to start the Passport, put your foot on the brake, push start. I actually really like the feeling of this button, and it also turns red once you turn it on, which I think it's a nice little touch. I'm going to shut it off because I do want to show you guys the starting graphic as well. So when you start it up, it kind of does this little cool graphic. You can see the RPMs go all the way maxed out. I think the just gauge cluster itself is a really cool look. Here's the steering wheel in the Passport. Now zooming in, Honda logo in the center. This is our adaptive cruise control right here. That's for the heated steering wheel, which I really like when manufacturers put it on the steering wheel. It illuminates that little light there when it's on, but it just makes it easy. If you want it on, you just press that and it's right where you're obviously using it. Anyways, that is to keep you in the lane. These are all of your controls for the little center stack. You got like the home screen button on it, voice command, phone controls, all that kind of stuff. This steering wheel is stitched with leather, so this part right here is a little bit smoother. This part where you actually grab the steering wheel most of the time is grippier, so that obviously you don't slip on the steering wheel when you are driving it. Now we've got our stock for the lights there on that side, and then that is the stock for the windshield wipers. So here is our center gauge cluster. Temperatures over on the left side. On the right side, you've got fuel, and then you've got all these different menus that you can scroll through. The thing I think is cool is the all-wheel drive torque. It's kind of cool that they show you that little system. Other than that, all the other menus, pretty standard. Most vehicles have them. The one thing I do like is the RPM, so I'm just going to give it a couple little revs. I just like how that looks. You'll see when I'm actually driving the car, it just has like a very nice sporty look to it. Now here's our center touchscreen display. The first thing I want to show you is the backup camera system. When you pop it into reverse, so you get a couple different views on that backup camera. You can even zoom in on the camera system, which is pretty neat, but it's a good camera system. If you notice, those little noises that it makes when I press all of the buttons are pretty funny, but you do have trajectory lines, so when you actually turn it, the line will change and move with you, and it also turns orange. Now if we put it back in park, actually using the infotainment system, I'm just going to press a couple things so you can see response time. I feel like Honda's been really good with response time. You also get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but most of the stuff that you actually press, I feel like when I actually press it, happens relatively quickly. Sometimes it takes a second to load up, obviously, but I mean, the overall response time on the touchscreen, I would say this is on the better side of things for cars on the market right now. There's all the analog controls for the infotainment system just down below. This is kind of like your little climate control area, so if you want it on or off, you can do that. I like it when car manufacturers leave the climate controls separate from the rest of the vehicle, because then if you just want to adjust the climate, you can go to the climate section rather than having to go through a bunch of infotainment screen menus. So Honda's impressed me with that. You do get heated and ventilated seats here for the front. You can just press either or. The heated will go in red and the ventilated will be in blue. This was just kind of like a storage area. A couple charging stations here in this little area, and then you do get wireless charging up front with your phone. A couple cup holders. We're going to go over the shifter in a minute and all these controls right here. And then we actually get the little center console. Now storage space on it's pretty good. This little thing slides back and forth. You actually get even more charging stations just down below in this area, so there's tons of ways to charge devices here in the Passport. I like the material on the top of the center console here, and just the actuation on it actually feels really nice. Coming over to the glove box, more black trim just above it, and opening up the glove box. On the storage space, a little bit on the small side, but no complaints overall on that. So here's how the gear selector area looks. To put it into park, you just have to press park in. Reverse is that little button right there. Neutral, you press in. Drive, you press in. And if you press it again, that is how you go into like the shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself. There are paddles on the back of the steering wheel to do that manual gear shifting. If we put it back into park, this is kind of like your off-road stuff. So this goes to your different drive modes actually. If we press it again, we've got normal, snow, mud, sand. So it does have some off-road credibility with having mud and the sand mode. Auto stop start, if you want to turn that on or off, you just press that little button right there. But I'll kind of do all these actuations again so you guys can just see how they all function going through. It happens pretty much instantaneously when you press the buttons. Sunglass holder up top, and it also doubles as a mirror. If I can get it to hook, there we go. User air, by the way. So you can see your passengers in the back. Now these are the controls for the sunroof. It's a regular sunroof, no panoramic here. The one thing I do like is they did black headliner, which matches the interior. Some auto manufacturers won't do that, but Honda, you know, made sure that everything matched here in the Passport. Now that we've gone over the interior on the Passport, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering pricing on this. So this particular Passport in the Elite package with all of the features and functions that it has, stickers for about $44,000 for any type of market adjustment. And this is kind of in that same competition as like a Jeep Grand Cherokee, that size of vehicle. So from a price point standpoint for being the fully loaded model, definitely competitive from a price standpoint. But that all being said, let's take this Passport out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off in the 2020 Passport. Now the hood kind of slopes down pretty well, so it's easy to see out the front end and it's easy to place there. Visibility throughout the mirrors is solid as well. You can see throughout the other mirror, and then visibility all throughout the rear. It's a bunch of big square windows, so it's easy to see out them just like most SUVs. And I've got to reverse first, so let's reverse off. Initially setting off here in the Passport, let's talk about the road noise first. In terms of road noise, the engine's actually relatively quiet. Mostly what I hear is a little bit of tire noise. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty comfortable to drive. It's relatively quiet, but yeah, I don't hear a whole lot from the engine, mostly tire noise. The ride quality, however, it's very, very smooth. It's definitely kind of like just barely above kind of what I'd consider the average for smoothness of an SUV in this segment. So if you're kind of looking for more of like a smooth luxury ride, then this is gonna be the route to go. And perfect, the light, not the green, the light is green for one. So we can turn, and the steering is actually pretty direct. I really like the feeling of the steering here on the Passport. It's very light, but there's not a whole lot of play with the steering. It kind of just goes right where you put it. And now obviously if we are able to go, we're gonna get a little acceleration here with the Passport. Took a second for it to gear down. Now in terms of power delivery, it's not fast or quick by any means, but it's more than adequate for the SUV that it is. It has more than enough power. If you're really power hungry, I could understand how you'd want more. However, I would say that this has more than enough power for the segment that this is in, and you're not gonna really feel like you need more, especially for what most people use this for. Now to wrap things up on the 2020 Passport, what I want to say is, and I'll kind of mention this at the end of the video as well. Yes, you can take this SUV off-road. No, it's not like a hardcore off-road SUV. However, this is a great family SUV, or just a great SUV around, like just an all-around vehicle. It's very comfortable to drive. It gets good gas mileage for what it is. It has a good amount of power, tons of safety tech, and I mean, it's got 1 million cup holders. That's a huge plus. So just because of all the practicality that the Passport has, I'd say as like an overall SUV, just like as an all-around SUV, it's a really, really good choice. So definitely check out the new Honda Passport. There we have it, everyone. The all-new 2020 Honda Passport, a really solid SUV. Now, to answer all of your questions, I know that Honda was trying to go for like a cool off-roader SUV. Now, yes, you can take the Passport off-road, but what I would say is the Passport has like done a good job with having kind of like the off-road looks. Like this has a really cool sporty look to it. However, I would say it's a really solid family type SUV, but it's a family SUV that looks a lot cooler than most other SUVs on the market. So you get Honda's reliability, but then you also just get a really cool looking SUV. But again, a big shout out and thank you to Stockton 12 Honda for providing us with the Passport. Check out their inventory in the link below. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. I will see all of you in that next video.